We've been waiting so long, the season's finally here. Soak it up and cheer, cause T-Wolves Talk is here. No need to fear, the wait is now gone. So farewell so long, cause T-Wolves Talk is on.
Alrighty, folks. Welcome back to the second installment of season 2 of Timberwolves Talk. I'm Chris, and that's Peyton, and we are so glad to be back for this off-season edition. We covered a lot last episode, but I do think there's definitely some more stuff to cover, especially on the Ben Simmons front. And honestly, there's a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, right now being in the off season and kind of like the dead zone of the NBA season, there's not too much to talk about, but I think we have a really interesting episode here, and we can kind of dive into things that we wouldn't usually be able to dive in because we'd have other news. I think we can get more detailed on some other things. And yeah, I think starting off with the Ben Simmons news, there's kind of a big explosion about, and the news, I don't even know if it was really like that much breaking news. It was kind of stuff we already knew, but yeah, what can you break down kind of what news you saw?
Yeah, I think it was I'm not exactly sure if it was a tweet or if it was on one of the NBA programs that ESPN or
I think it was
whoever put out. But they sometimes do that, like they'll take quotes from the shows or whatever. And there's a quote that came out from Shams a couple days ago, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday. And it said the Timberwolves are still heavily invested in one of the top teams.
No, it said they were the most interested team in Ben Simmons.
Most interested team, yeah. Mm-hmm. And they're still heavily involved in talks with the Sixers. But like you said, that's definitely already pretty known information. Like we kind of already knew that. And I think the same thing still stands with the Sixers and the Ben Simmons situation. The asking price, Daryl Morey is trying to get for Ben Simmons, in everyone's opinion, is way too much. Like 3 to 4 first round picks and young prospects for a borderline star at the moment is extremely difficult to kind of make happen, especially with teams that are already kind of a little bit nervous about the last postseason that Ben Simmons just had, being scared to shoot layups and 4-foot jumpers.
They're not willing to give up the whole franchise for that, right?
No.
But a thing that Darren said about, I think Darren was the one who said this. I don't know if it was Darren or Shams, basically the same thing. But what they said was that the Timberwolves are going to need to get a third team involved because as our upper management has said, we're not going to trade D'Lo, we're not going to trade Cat, and we're not going to trade Ant. So we're going to have to get a third team involved if we want to make a move for Ben Simmons. And there's also reports saying that we're just going to wait it out. And at some point, he's going to have to lower his expectations because Ben Simmons, let's face it, is not going to play for the 76ers ever again. And there's even reports that he's not going to even report to camp. So,
yeah, there are two things to dissect that you mentioned. First was the waiting it out, or first was the third team has to get involved for the trade, and it's an interesting piece of news because that really does tell the story of what the Timberwolves want to give up. They're not going to give up any of the 3 players they believe are on max contracts or going to be on max contracts, which include Ant, D'Lo, and Cat. So those players are untouchable at the moment, as you just heard from that quote. So that leaves pretty much Malik Beasley, who's obviously we're in a tight cap situation right now. I think we have $4 million of luxury tax that we can dive into. And that would be just enough to re-sign Vando. But it goes to show there's going to need to be a third team with a little bit more cap space that's going to have to take Malik off the hands or some of the prospects, and the Sixers will get the picks. So that is a really interesting part. And the other one is the waiting it out. I think that is the boat every other team is in right now. And I don't think the Sixers believe the Wolves are the front runner right now for one huge reason. And that's because the Trailblazers, I think, are still in the sweepstakes with the whole Damian Lillard situation. Like, he said he wants to stay right now, but if the Blazers do what they've been doing for the past, 7 years, being mediocre.
Well, I mean, okay, not mediocre. They're
not
better
mediocre,
than.
But if
I would trade to be a Blazers fan. Anyway.
Oh, I agree. But if they're stuck in that 5, 6, 7,
they're in the worst,
seed range,
one of the worst spots to be.
Yeah, they're stuck in the mud at like that 5, 6, 7 seed again, and Damian Lillard's getting cold feet in the middle of the season. You could see that trade go down potentially, but for that to happen, Ben Simmons needs to report to training camp. And at the moment, the reports are he's not going to report to training camp is what we've heard. So one more thing to add on that too is that puts Morey in a terrible situation. The Wolves it puts the Wolves in the situation they want to be in. They want to be in this situation where it's going to force his hand to, lower the expectations of Ben Simmons.
So I want to ask you a question about something he said. So if Ben Simmons doesn't report to camp, he can't be traded like midway through the season.
I'm not sure. Is that a
no? That's just what I thought. I thought that's what you said because well, I mean, he could just sit out the season. Like he could hold out.
No, that's what I'm saying is if Ben Simmons isn't gonna go to training camp or report or take texts from teammates, he's gonna get traded before the season. The Sixers can't afford to have that happening when they still have the best center, in my opinion, in the league, and a lot of good young pieces and a lot of vets in place for this year to win. So they cannot afford to have another 76er-esque season, which they've had in the past. They can't afford that right now. They need a piece. So if that piece entails Malik Beasley, Jaden McDaniels, two young blossoming players and future first, I think they would jump on that to salvage a season and keep building upon that. Or they'd risk, I don't know. Would you wait till the middle of the season to acquire Lillard and put yourself in that bad of a place?
That's a big if. I don't even know if that could even go down at the middle of the season. So it's going to come down to they're going to get right up to the season and they're just going to take probably the best offer that fits their needs. And are we going to be able to give them the best offer? And I'm kind of doubtful about that. I think that other teams might be able to give them a better offer than Malik Beasley, Jaden McDaniels, and a few picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've seen obviously some of the teams are out that are interested in Ben Simmons. Obviously, the Warriors and the Spurs have the other two highest odds. I think the Warriors have the highest betting odds right now. But yeah, the Spurs honestly are a slept-on trade package. I mean, Dejounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, if they can offer up 2 first-round picks, that's really intriguing too. 2 great two-way players who are super young.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Simmons would probably fit the San Antonio culture.
Oh, Poppy would love that, dude. Pops would love that.
But I think the other thing that's being slept on right now is Philadelphia sports as a whole and their fan base. Do you think Philly is going to want to, just let Ben Simmons sit and get nothing out of it and lose? I don't think Philly fans can take that.
No.
And there's going to be extreme pressure on Morey from the city of Philadelphia to keep this team winning because, in my opinion, the 76ers have one of the best constructed rosters in the whole NBA. It's just, it sucks to say, but Ben Simmons just doesn't fit that team at the moment, what they're trying to do. They're trying to space the floor, and he
does not space the floor. Let's just say that nicely. He's not much of a floor spacer.
Yeah, and what the Wolves are looking for right now is they have a lot of players who can space the floor well, but they have no interior defense or perimeter defense. So
it'd be a great fit. I don't know if it'll happen, but I'm very hopeful. This next topic I got for you, I didn't tell you about it before. I was searching for Wolves news on the internet, and I came across this article by Paul Langan. It's on dunkingwithwolves.com. You ever heard about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's kind of a debate. Which of the new players that the Timberwolves have added in the offseason, basically Pat Bev or Taurean Prince, are going to be more impactful this season on the Wolves? Now, I got some numbers for you from last year just to kind of help you along. So Pat Bev averaged 22 minutes a game last year. He shot 39% from the 3 and averaged 0.8 blocks. Taurean Prince also averaged 22 minutes. He averaged 40% from 3 and he had 0.7 blocks a game. So who do you think is going to be more impactful?
That's a good question. I like getting put on the spot.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't want to give you any time to prepare for that.
What I can say is I can say they're going to be impactful in certain different types of ways. And obviously, in my humble opinion, I think probably Patrick Beverley is a more well-rounded player, but we are extremely guard heavy at the moment, and we have guards who can fill some of the same roles as Pat Bev. Obviously, they can't fill the intensity of the defense, but they can fill the shooting of Pat Bev. But what we don't have is a large group of versatile wings that can play 3 and D. And that's exactly what Taurean Prince gives you. You just read off 40% from the 3-point line. That's exactly what we're looking for off the wing, because our wing shooters previously in Okogie and Culver are the opposite of that. They cannot shoot the 3. So I think Taurean Prince will be one of the most impactful offseason acquisitions in the NBA.
In the NBA, wow.
Our second team with him running one of the wings, I think will space the floor, because I don't know if you were seeing it as I was seeing it, but our second team could not shoot the ball. Like, whatever happened, that is when the offense went stagnant, but that's when we started playing good defense. So Taurean Prince comes in, knocks down a couple of those threes.
A few of the Okogie threes that he had wide open in the corner.
A few of those 0 for 22 Okogie threes. Like, if he knocks in 7 of those, man, that's game changing. That could make your record from like 0-4 to 2-2 or 3-1.
Right.
We at the end of the season started losing games by single possession games. I mean, we were competitive most of the second half of last season. So a couple more of those threes drop in that couldn't have been made by our past wings. I don't know. I think Taurean Prince is going to be extremely impactful. Not that Pat Bev won't. I think he's going to bring some awesome defense to the backcourt, but I think Prince is going to have definitely the most impact within the statistics that you were talking about.
All right. Well, I kind of want to disagree with you, and I didn't only need to be at those statistics, but I think Pat Bev is going to be way more impactful than we could ever imagine. I think it's not going to be in the numbers. It might not even be in the minutes that he plays. He might not even play many minutes for the Timberwolves, but I just think off the court, he's going to be so impactful on these young guys in practice. He's going to bring an intensity to practice, because I don't know much about Pat Bev, but I think I know his character well enough to know that he's not going to half-ass it at practice. You know what I mean? Like, if he's not
100%.
playing, he's going to pick those guys up full court all practice long just to try to compete for a spot. He's not going to back down.
Yeah.
So I think just having one player like that in the locker room, and we mentioned this last time, Pat Bev has never, or he's brought every team he's been on to the playoffs. I don't know, is this that has he never missed the playoffs, or he's brought every team to the playoffs?
I know in like the past 7 years he's been in the playoffs every single year. I'm not sure about his whole. I'm sure he hasn't been in the playoffs every single time.
But he's went with every team. I think I saw that. But
yes, with the Clippers, he's been in the playoffs every single.
I think
year.
Just adding a vet with that much intensity, just having that in your locker room, I think that's going to be so impactful. And Prince may very well be more impactful on the court, but I think Pat Bev is going to be something that we can't even imagine. Like, we can't even think about how impactful he's going to be on these young guys.
Yeah, I think Pat Bev has a little bit of that Jay Crowder and Andre Iguodala syndrome. The dude is always in like the playoffs somewhere.
Right.
Like, you see him on TNT every single time the playoffs come around. He's always doing something impactful in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Every single time you see Jay Crowder, he's hitting a three. He's hitting a huge three in the
always
NBA
complaining.
Finals. Yeah, I mean, you notice Jay Crowder on the floor the same way you notice Pat Bev on the floor. They're both very intense guys who have that winning mentality, and that they're great locker room guys. They're always going to pick you up when you're down. They're always going to be the first guy to get in someone's face when you get pushed down. It's exactly what the Wolves need. They need a little bit of more of that toughness, I think. That's exactly what Taurean Prince brings too. He's a really intense guy, and I don't know. I like we said in the past episode, if anyone watched, Peyton and I love these small acquisitions. They don't mean a lot at the moment, but there's one or two scenarios. We're going to get two very consistent guys who have shown good play throughout their entire career, who do the things that they do well. They can't do a whole ton, but what they do well.
Mm-hmm.
Or we're going to flip them into a greater good, whether that's Ben Simmons or another player. I'm stoked about these offseason acquisitions. I know it seems like it's not a lot, but I think a lot more Wolves fans should be grateful for what we did. And people are forgetting about the $7 million. I think we have three or $4 million cap space, and we can go into the luxury tax. $7 million. We cleared space to re-sign both of our restricted free agents if we want, or just re-sign another depth piece.
Yeah. So it's something you were talking about before we went live was, so what exactly has Gerson flipped Robert Covington into?
Yeah, I don't have the list like directly in front of me, but Robert Covington and that protected pick, the one that we traded out of to get to, so you remember we got that Brooklyn Nets pick, the 17th overall pick in the draft last
Yep.
year.
Last year.
And we flipped that into 2 more players. So for Robert Covington and like Shabazz Napier and a 2nd round pick, I believe, we flipped that into Malik Beasley, Jaden McDaniels, Pat Bev, Taurean Prince, and another 2nd round pick, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Gerson. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's legitimately ridiculous. Malik and Jaden McDaniels
alone.
I would argue that. Well, I wouldn't even argue. Malik is more valuable than Robert Covington and a 2nd, and I would also argue Jaden McDaniels is more valuable than Robert Covington in a 2nd. So just those 2 players alone that he managed to get within the trade and the draft for the pick he got. Plus, I didn't even mention it. We got Balmero too. We haven't even seen what Balmero is.
No.
We haven't even seen that yet.
And dude, there's a lot of hype around Balmero. Like there's low key, like people are saying he's going to be a very special player. I don't know if you've seen his highlights, but he's different.
Yeah.
He plays the game a little differently than I've ever seen before. He's not going to fit into that regular mold.
Yeah, I'm excited. And before we go on to, because I do want to talk about Balmero.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at that list of players, that is great and cap space. We keep forgetting about this. We're in cap conundrum right for the past 4 years. We haven't been able to sign anyone. Like we are locked down. And what we have managed to do is very good since Gerson came in. Like just think about the Wolves with like young Ricky Rubio, like old Al Jefferson, Kevin Martin. Like we're in a better place now. We're in a better place. Hope there's light. And I don't know whether this gets flipped or whether it doesn't. I'm really happy with what we're going into for next season.
I agree, man. I agree. So yeah, let's get into Balmero. I think I saw on the 18th of August that he just touched down in Minnesota. And from what people are saying, he still, there's a chance he might not sign with the team this year. He might do a few more years overseas, 1 or 2 more seasons, and we'd still have his rights. Or he could end up signing with us this year, and he probably won't get many minutes. But either way, I think just having a player like that stashed away is just, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, like it's kind of another Ricky Rubio story, almost like a overseas guard who is a very good passer and who's got a lot of raw skills and height and intangibles. It's interesting because when you were talking about who's more valuable right now, Pat Bev or Taurean Prince, we didn't even really take into account Balmero. But if we want him to be the future at our backup guard position, then I mean, maybe it is good for him to go play another year overseas while Pat Bev gets the majority of the 1 minutes and, Noel and Malik take up those wing spots.
Yeah.
It's just a thought. I mean, I would totally be down to let him develop another year overseas. We don't need him at the moment. And if he's getting first team minutes on one of the top EuroLeague teams, one of the best teams in the world that's not in the NBA, I mean, I think that's a great opportunity.
I want to find his stats right now because I know he didn't really put up anything crazy.
No, he only started to get minutes on the actual team towards the end of their season, but there's a lot of cool assistant stuff that I saw clips.
Yeah, he's averaging like 1.8 in the EuroLeague on Barcelona. How old is he? He's pretty young, isn't he?
I believe he's 20. Can look that up, but he's either 20 or 21.
So yeah, he's real young. Yeah, he's 20 years old. September 11th is his birthday. Coming up, almost 21. But yeah,
so, I mean, I wouldn't mind if he comes over like a junior in college. I think those players are underrated right now. I really do. I think Davion Mitchell is going to be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Just because he's 21 doesn't mean he's not going to be a good player. Michael Jordan was 21 when he came to the NBA.
Right, and he has just he's so much more NBA ready than these young prospects because most of these guys, when you draft them, they're not going to be impact players the first year. Look at Jaden McDaniels. Think about if Jaden McDaniels came into the NBA after being in college for 3 to 4 years. He would be a completely different prospect because right now we're looking at him as a raw player. And I don't know if that would be better for him or for worse, but it would just be a completely different situation.
Yeah, I 100% agree. If we get the second coming of Manu Ginobili from Leandro Balmero,
Gerson, man, he knows. I trust Gerson, dude.
I really do. I don't get how people are mad at this offseason. I'm still astounded by that fact. But
Yeah, I love it because if you had any knowledge of the Timberwolves, like cap space and like our current roster, you knew that we weren't going to be making many moves at all. Like it was just a fact, you know. And people, what happened is exactly what we thought was going to happen. A few small moves here and there, and people are still finding a way to be upset. I think that's kind of what I forgot about these Minnesota sports fans last year is that no matter what, they always just found something to be angry with. Remember 2 to 3, Chris Finch coached 2 games, and everyone was like, "He's terrible. We need to fire him already."
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like at this point, obviously, you can't blame fans, but like no one has patience anymore. Like no one can see the process is finally starting to happen. They're still stuck in the fact that we have continued to lose. And I think if you look real deep into it, I think it's here. I think we finally are going to be winning. I think there is going to be a winning season inbound.
Yeah,
I'm praying.
I'm praying too, man. I'm praying too. Another thing I want to go into. So, Bleacher Report, as you know, has been predicting the starting fives of all the NBA teams. So for us, what would you guess, Bleacher Report? Maybe you saw it. I don't know if you saw it, but what would you guess they predicted our starting lineup to be? Did you see it first of all?
No, I haven't seen the Bleacher Report. If I were to guess what Bleacher Report would put together, I would probably say I think they go with my lineup. I think they'd probably do D'Lo and McDaniels, Vandy, and Cat. Hold on. Before I submit my final answer, are they considering if Vanderbilt resigns or not?
I don't know. I don't think so. He's not the starter.
Okay, if they're not
I don't think so.
If he's not, so I'll do if that's with if he's with the team, that would be mine. But if he's not with the team right now, I would guess they would say D'Lo, Malik, Ant, McDaniels, and Cat is what I'm assuming they would say.
Yep. So they said D'Lo, Ant, and then they put Beasley at the 3, which I think that could run into some issues, and then Jaden at the 4, which I also think that could run into some issues, and then Cat at the 5. So it's just kind of like the classic Bleacher Report. Like you can tell they do a few Google searches and then they put it out because they got to do all the teams. They're not going to go in depth. And
I would say that would be my fourth quarter lineup if I needed to bucket.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I trust those guys the most. It's just the fact of the matter is that lineup has such an awkward split. It's like you have your 7-footer at the center and you have that 6'10" guy, but he's super lengthy and skinny. And then it cuts off from 6'10" to 6'4" and below. Like you have no length to defend these. If you were to play that lineup against the Clippers or Lakers with their type of physicality and height, that would just be bully ball. Like I don't know what the heck would happen. That's why I think you need length at the wing position, especially for this Timberwolves team, who already is, I think, very good at stretching the floor. I do also believe though that Ant is he plays bigger than 6'4", 6'5". I think he does. His defense is not great.
Not great is an overstatement. Not great is an over.
He's not good.
He is very bad. He's bad defense. He needs improvement.
See, this is the thing though. I don't think he's bad at defense inherently. I think his athleticism can make up for it. He's just lazy on the defensive end. When he tries, he locks people down. Like
you can tell when he clicks into that second gear when he gets competitive. But like sometimes he just gets beat backdoor, and you're like, come on.
His on-ball defense is fine though. I don't have any issues with his on-ball defense. His off-ball defense horrific. So I don't know. That's a weird lineup.
It's all right.
I love length. I do.
I think it's
pause.
Oh dear. Classic Chris moment. But but I think that lineup. I think that lineup is our 5 best players.
No. Yeah, I do think so too. I think that those 5 are I can't. All right. Good now. Got it all out. That was funny. I think those 5 are our best players though that I would end the game with. But on the counter to that, are we going into that last minute down, or are we going up into the last minute
Right.
up?
Because if you're going into it up,
I don't want those players in it if we're up by like 5. I can tell
but
you
maybe
that.
free throw shooting, that might be your best bet. Because I'm not putting a Kobe out there or
I mean,
Vando. I'm
obviously,
not putting Vando.
yeah, substitutions are super fluid in the last minute too. There's
You're right.
fouls, people keep checking in and out, but like,
You're right.
maybe people. I was thinking about this the other day when we were talking about it, and I might have mentioned it. I think people put way too much like thought into these lineups. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
I'm always on I'm on the train of like what feels right in game, just do it. Like if something feels fluent, like if you feel like we need Malik for some situation, just put him in the game. I don't think any lineups need to be fluent throughout the season or game to game. I don't think lineups need to stay stagnant.
This is where we ran into problems last year, dude. This is exactly what messed us up last year was Ryan Saunders goes into there with these analytical robotic lineups that is pre-planned before the game. And he's doing the same crap. He's making a starting lineup. He's got people coming in at certain minutes, no matter what. He has no game feel. And I agree. That is what makes a coach up to the next level. If they have a game feel. So like I would always get so pissed when this would happen to me when I was playing. If you make 2 or 3 shots in a row and then your coach takes you out right after that, like that just doesn't make any sense. And they do it because they have a piece of paper in their hand that says you come out of the game at this time and this sub and all that. No, you gotta trust yourself as a coach to where you can read the game and make decisions as it comes. You can't have that can't be pre-planned.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, there's different situations that are going to need different people within them. And obviously you have to manage minutes for star players, but like if Cat's getting a little tired, but if he's just exposing his mismatch on and on and on, like you can't take him out of the game. If I'm losing a couple minutes in the fourth quarter, if he's like gassed in the fourth quarter, I don't care. I'd rather have a gassed Cat than a Nas Reed. Right. I mean, like, I don't know. And plus that Cat who you kept in is probably going to change the game later in the fourth because he's going to put up more points.
Exactly. That's a great point. For me, for some reason, I guess I just want to say this kind of started the lineup I want to go with to start the season. As of right now, I want to give a shout out to English Level 7 on YouTube. He commented it. He said his starting lineup is D'Lo, Ant, Okogie, J-Mac, and Cat. And then he put in parentheses, though, by Okogie, only 20 minutes a game. And then 6th man is Beasley. So Beasley's getting most of the minutes, but you give Okogie to start. And then Beasley's getting more minutes than Okogie in the end, but he's coming off the bench. And he's kind of – so the way I would see that lineup going is you start the game, and then about 5-6 minutes in, you take Okogie out and then let Beasley play with the starting lineup for a little while. And then when the starting lineup gets tired, you keep Beasley in there and then bring in some of the bench guys. So he works with both units and can lead the bench lineup. So that's just kind of how I think that would be.
Yeah, I like that thought.
Or you could switch out Okogie with Vando if that's how you.
Yeah, teams have definitely like done that in the past too, working very good. Like the Lou Will situation when he was on the Clippers, like Lou Will would play most of the game, but he obviously didn't start. So I think
they just did that to get the award for him. Right.
I forgot about that. But yeah, no, I like that. I like bringing some defense onto the court right away. Especially since most stars in the league today are going to be guarded by Okogie when they're playing us.
Right. He's just that good of a defender. I know we can hate on him offensively as much as we want, but he is a top 15, top 13 defender in the NBA. Could you say that? Or is that?
I could get behind that. I think it's good too. I think he can guard 1 through 3 like perfectly. He fits the mold for every 1 through 3. But when obviously I don't buy into the Josh Okogie having like a 6'10" wings or like what was that? There's a funny stat last year everyone kept bringing up when Ryan would put him at the 4 when he's like, yeah, he plays like he's 6'10" because of his wingspan or something like that.
That's something Ryan. We like to forget what Ryan said. But I remember last year, dude, when DeMar DeRozan, he cooked Okogie. Remember that game, dude? DeMar DeRozan looked like Michael Jordan.
And that's because DeMar is like a sneaky giant shooting guard. Like he is 6'7", pushing 6'8". Like he is a long player. He plays like that. He's just that guy who shoots the mid range over anyone. He's not going to be able to be defended by a regular 2.
I think we forget, dude. Like I think that was one of the best performances anyone had against the Timberwolves last year. That fourth quarter, DeMar.
In the fourth.
We
thought weren't we up? Weren't we running away with that game? And
I think that was when we weren't winning much, and like we were playing well, but it was at that point in the season where we would like play well and then just find every single way we could to lose the game. And I was so disappointed after that because I was like, damn, I thought DeMar DeRozan was washed, but no, he's not.
Okay. Oh, I actually got a really good thing I wanted to bring up. What was your favorite moment from last season?
Favorite moment from last season?
I got mine like crystal clear. Like I know exactly what you got.
Well, I'm honest. The one moment that really sticks out to me was kind of like when Anthony Edwards really like became that player we loved. Is I think when he went up against LeBron James and made that 3 right in his face. I think that moment and like that whole game, he went off. And like that I remember that vividly. I don't know if that's my favorite moment, but that's definitely a moment that sticks out to me that I really like.
Definitely my favorite moment for sure was when we were in Florida for spring break or whatever, and we were playing the Suns, and that was a barn burner of a game. Like the fourth quarter was insane, and I think like didn't Ant have like 42? And
dude, yes.
That's
Cat
when
and
like
both had 40.
Cat and Nat were playing the pick and pop game, and like we were just going off. That was such a fun game to watch, and like I just remember that it was so back and forth. Like we won by 3 with like free throws or something. That was such a good game, and that's what made me realize. Like I think that's what made me realize that it's gonna be Cat and Ant, not Cat and D'Lo. That's the game I realized.
Was D'Lo? Did he play that game?
I believe that's when he was injured for the second time in the season.
Yeah. So did they both have 40 or did they both have 30?
I think Ant had 42 and Cat had 40. That was the first time that season that there was 40 duos, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's it. You brought up a great point. That's when we knew like Ant was going to be more than just like us. Like that's when we really saw his potential as a rookie doing that, dude.
Yeah, that was when the stat came out that him, LeBron, and KD were the only rookies to score over 40.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, those are both great, and I like how they both have to do with Ant-Man. That's just how you know that he's kind of the fan favorite right now.
Yeah, I mean that was I guess that kind of segues into the next topic I wanted to bring up, but since I kind of said that's when I realized like it's gonna be Cat and Ant instead of Cat and D'Lo. Who are your top 5 Timberwolves on the Timberwolves right now ranked?
Ranked from
ranked
5 to 10 or 1 to 5? How do you want to 5? What?
You should probably start with 1 just so you can work your way up and keep thinking of players since we can't write them down. But
right, are you gonna do? You want me to go off potential or this right now? On today, who is the best 5?
I think talent and potential. I think talent and potential. Who's your best 5? Who's your best 5 Timberwolves?
All right, so number 1.
Or what, you know what? It doesn't even have to be that. Just off what are you feeling? Whatever you feel is your top 5 Timberwolves. Whatever that means.
It's personal choice. All right. So number 1 for me, I'm gonna go Karl Anthony Towns. I think that you can't yes, Ant has a lot of potential. Yes, he's a fan favorite, but Karl Anthony Towns is the best player on this team right now. He is the most important player on this team right now. And if we did not have Karl Anthony Towns on the team, we wouldn't have much. So that's why he's my number 1 player. Number 2, this is where it gets really hard, and I wish I had a little bit more time to go into this, but D'Lo or Ant? I think I'm gonna go with Ant. I think that I'd rather have Ant on the team than D'Lo, and so like if you were to say get rid of Ant or D'Lo, I'd get rid of D'Lo. And then 3, D'Lo, just because he's the third wheel in our superstar tandem. He's kind of the borderline superstar. We don't know if he has that potential still or if he's just going to be a star. 4, this is where it gets tricky. I'm going to go Beasley. I think a lot of people forget about Beasley and how good of a player he is. So I'm going to go Beasley at 4. And then J-Mac, 5.
Yeah, I mean that'd be almost my list. I think I'm gonna switch one thing up actually.
Right.
So I go Cat number 1 too. Like
Mhm.
he's our franchise cornerstone. He's still 26 years old, I believe. If that, he might even be 25 right. No, I think he is 25 right now. You can
Cat?
double check me on
Oh,
that.
I'll go to right now.
But while I keep going, obviously Cat's number 1 right now. Just
25.
like 25 years old. Felt like he's been here forever. He is the franchise cornerstone. He's the only reason we get some wins. He's the best offensive shooting big in
Ever.
NBA history.
Ever.
Yes, NBA history. His defense isn't there at times, but I think his playmaking is starting to make up for it. He is becoming one of the best bigs passing for sure. I think he's better than Embiid. I think Jokic and Cat. Just everything is there. He's the modern day big. He is the team right now, and honestly still has potential to even be better if he just hones in a little bit more on the defensive end. I know we always say that, but like the potential's there. He's got the wingspan. He has the height. It's there. It's just a mindset, I think. Honestly, in today's NBA, is playing defense is a mindset. Number 2, again, factoring everything in, I would go Ant as well.
Yep.
He's still 19 years old, or he just turned 20. I think his birthday just happened.
He's
just
actually
turned
younger
20.
than Chris and I, if you guys want to take that into account.
Yes, he is younger than us. Just the off-season videos too that I'm starting to like see on Twitter and stuff
of him shooting and shit at Georgia Tech.
He's that was one of the biggest concerns, coming out.
Well, he didn't even like basketball.
The work ethic is more than there, and I don't know how people can't see that. I think he has a better work ethic than Cat. I think he has. It's debatable, but who has a better work ethic than him on the Timberwolves right now, besides Pat Bev?
I don't know. I don't think he could.
I don't know. Like
I don't know if
I don't
he could
know.
know.
He's got the dog in him. He
Yeah,
does.
he does.
I think that in itself, that mentality is what propels him over D'Lo. I don't think D'Lo's ever had that it factor to him. Obviously, I think he's cold-blooded, and I obviously think he loves basketball. I just don't think he's ever going to be that type of physical player who's going to like get in your face and do that type of stuff. Their play styles are just different. I think I'd rather have Ant's play style than D'Lo's play style. And just based off potential, Ant's pretty much 5 full years younger than D'Angelo Russell.
Right.
And already is starting to. There's honestly debate if he's better right now or not.
Yeah. So you got to put him.
Which he might be.
Yeah.
Number 3, I think this one's pretty easy too. D'Lo. For as much as we like to clown on him, I feel like during the regular season, sometimes you really need those like 26-point nights from him and those big 3-pointers, and he delivers most times. I think he's one of the clutchest players in the NBA.
I agree.
You don't see him missing a lot of crunch time shots, and I think he's also one of the best mid-range players in the NBA. I think last year was sort of an off season for him, but he had multiple injuries, and again, it's a new team. Like he got traded halfway through the season the year prior, so you're still learning a new offense, defense, plus COVID. It's going to be tough. So I think him in his full groove, averaging 20, is definitely the third best player on the team. And this is where I would switch with you. I think Malik is more valuable at this juncture. I would say J-Mac would be my number 4, just for the fact of his length and that we don't have that many wings on our roster at the moment.
Right.
Who can do what he can do. He's the only player on the team that can do no one else can do what J-Mac can do right now.
Not many players in the league can.
No.
And if they can do it, they're superstars.
Yeah.
That's what he's got very high potential. Very high ceiling.
A very high ceiling. And I think the people who just look at the stats from last year and see like it's probably like 6 points, something points.
Yeah, nothing.
Couple rebounds, a block or so. Like people who just look at that, I think are doing themselves a disjustice instead of looking at maybe his shooting percentages. Cause I think too is honestly people underlook the fact that he improved from day one to the last day. Mm-hmm. He was a borderline guy playing in the summer league to a starter all within one season, a COVID season. He did that with no summer league. He worked his way from a summer league player to a starter. And that in itself, I think, is a ginormous win for him.
Yeah, it's crazy how even the Bleacher Report is saying that he's going to be a starter on this team. That's how you know it. Like, it's starting to get out that he has a lot of potential, and he's the real deal.
Yeah. So, and then obviously I'd say Malik at the 5. He's super valuable to us still, and he's going to be one of the most valuable bench players, I think, in the NBA.
I agree.
Definitely my 6th man of the year candidate, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's either him or Jordan Clarkson if he doesn't start.
That's right.
Or Lou Will.
Did Clarkson or did Ingles win it this past year?
Clarkson
won it?
Yeah, I think so. And then Jordan or Jamal Crawford might come back and win another.
They come back at 45 and win one.
Win another 6th man of the year. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I think we made the most out of this episode. I think we really got to talk about. I mean, yeah, like people say, like this is kind of the dead zone in the NBA season. It's kind of like the calm before the storm. Not many big moves are going to be happening now. And actually, Darren, I was listening to Darren say this. He said most execs in the NBA right now actually are going on vacation, taking some time off. Yeah, except for he said the Timberwolves, we can't really take a break right now because we still have to sign Vando. And yeah, we still have a few things that we gotta do. So
there's a lot of intricacies with the roster right now, like with all the people who played really well in the summer league and 2 spots open on the active roster right now. Like,
yeah, do you have anything you'd like to address from last episode? Because as most people that are subscribed to us know that Chris calls himself Chris the Facts Jansen. So he always likes to come with 100% of the facts, 100% legit facts, and he had a few slip ups.
Okay, listen to this though. Steph Curry's gonna miss a couple wide open threes in the first game of the season. It's getting back into it. Like I'm gonna miss a couple. I'm gonna miss a couple wide open receivers. I'm gonna mess up a couple names in my podcast.
Chris, but you said Carmelo Anthony is the starting 4 on the Blazers still.
When did I say that?
You said it. You said, I don't know. You got called out in the comment section. You said by, I don't know who it was.
If I said that last episode, I'm thoroughly sorry. I hope he plays good for the Lakers. It'd be kind of cool to see Melo win a ring, but I'm sorry. I think I called. Okay, but you can take some credit for this because you made up that right and something nickname.
Yeah, you made me sound like a freaking idiot.
So what did I say? So let's get this completely correct. We have McKinley Wright, the 4th.
Yep.
He is the undrafted rookie we signed.
Yep, from Champlain Park, Minnesota, Colorado.
Isaiah Miller, not Isaiah Wright.
Isaiah Wright's actually from Last Chance U. He got arrested for murder or something.
Yeah. Isaiah Miller, sorry. Yep. He's also a UDFA who has like crazy bounce. I loved watching him in the preseason. And then the previous guy we traded with the Hawks for.
Nate Knight.
Okay.
Nate.
Perfect.
There we go.
The thing is, I got to get to know those names because those 3 were my preseason performers that I really loved watching. So,
right. A very quick segment. We're going to do this quick segment and then we're going to wrap it up. I think, just to show that we have the best comment section in NBA YouTube and all of YouTube. I think each week, me and you should give a little shout out to one fan in the comment section. Just say, hey, we saw your comment, or hey, we appreciate you watching. So
I agree.
For me today, I'm going to give a shout out to one of the OGs, Greg Weasley. He always is in the comment section. He's always leaving that pinned comment. And yeah, just hope you're having a great time. Hope the wife is okay. Hope the kids are okay. Hope the family's doing well, man. Hope you're tuned in right now.
I guess my comment of the week, I got a couple. Or 2. I got 2.
All right.
This guy named Hendo.
Hendo.
So Hendo, thank you for joining the family here at Timberwolves podcast, Timberwolves Talk. Left a couple great comments. I went and looked at some of his stuff. He makes some cool videos too. If you guys want to go check that out, I think he makes like highlight mixes and also like little NBA videos like us. And also I don't think we've ever acknowledged him, or we don't really comment at him a lot. I am Timberwolves fan. Thank you so much for leaving like 20 comments a video. Like
That really helps with the
it really does. It
the
helps the algorithm, and we love like seeing what you have to say, because like half the comments are praising our takes and half are roasting them. So we love it. We love the criticism.
we do, and that keeps us on our toes because I know like especially like I made sure to write stuff down today because I'm like if I say something wrong, I am Timberwolves fan is gonna call me out. I will hear about it from my mom because she'll read the comment section and let me know that I made a mistake. So yeah, just want to give a shout out to those guys, man. I mean, we love it.
I think that's a great place to end it. We had no lagging throughout this whole episode, and it would only be right to send it off with a little bit of lag. So Thank you guys so much for watching. Couple more clips this week coming. If you guys don't want to watch full episode, but if you made it here, you probably watched full episode anyway. Keep supporting us. Big thing on the way.